everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a fall color along. I did a video a week or so ago with all my new fall books and I thought I was done buying them, but I'm not, so I'll probably have to do like a part 2 and do even more videos. But one of the books was this Country Autumn coloring book, and it's from Coloring Book Cafe. And kind of like I said in my video, Coloring Book Cafe, they have some really cute images, but their paper is outright awful. So I took a page that I found really cute in here and I scanned it and printed it out on much better paper. And this one just, I really wanted to do it. I don't know, it just spoke to me as I was flipping through. I also have a few that I know you guys picked, so don't worry, I'll get to those too. But I thought this one would just be fun for kicking off all the fall color alongs. And I'm going to use Derwent Inktense. I was requested to do a mandala with Inktense, and I didn't forget about that. I will get to that one. So I wanted to do this one though. I'm just itching to use my Inktense pencils. I don't know. And so I thought it'd be fun to start it off using Inktense, because Inktense has a ton of fall colors and they're really fun to work with and they're quick too. So if you don't know much about them, let me grab one. Here is the Inktense. I kind of showed those in my video a couple weeks ago, showing all my collection of pencils, but the Inktense are a water-soluble pencil, can't talk today, but they are not watercolor, so make sure you get that out of your head. These are actually ink, and when you wet them, they become very vibrant. They're almost dull when you put them down, and then the color just kind of explodes. But you have a lot more workable room with these, because like with watercolor, it's always a muted color, whereas this, you can build it up and you can make it as intense like it was an alcohol marker. So they're very versatile, fun, and even better, you can layer these. So unlike watercolor, where if you put one color down and one on top of it, they'll both keep activating even when dry. Once these dry, they are dry. You can put a new color on top and go to town. So that makes them really fun. There is a bit of a learning curve to the Inktense, so if you're new to them, hopefully I can show you some beginner tips. I'm going to keep this super simple too. I want it to be beginner friendly. And then if you're already experienced with Inktense, maybe this will just be fun and relaxing and a way to kind of get into the fall mode. Alright, so we are doing everything in real time. That way, this is kind of showing you my process with how I pick colors, but also kind of helps you learn how to pick out your colors too. I think sometimes that can be missing, you know? Someone gives you a color palette and you're just like, well, where do I go? I am not going to use like a pre-made, excuse me, color palette, because it's apples in a barrel. I think we can kind of guess the color palette, right? We're gonna keep it au naturel here. I just want to do red apples because I just picture red apples in the fall and not the green ones. And then we'll do some warm wood tones for all of the barrels, trees, wooden ladder. We may make the ladder a color instead of wood. We'll cross that bridge, but what we want to do first is look at our Inktense colors. So these are my swatches for Inktense. Let me move this down a little so everyone can see. Alright, so as you can tell, I have like a little swatch of the pencil itself and then me activating it with water. And can you see like how vibrant and bright those colors are? Now the trick is, the more you put down, the more color you get. Seems pretty obvious, right? And that also includes the more vibrant, but you can take any of these colors and make them lighter. So if you're sitting here looking at this going, wow, there really isn't a pink there is. You have this fuchsia and this carmine pink and even crimson. If you just put a little bit down and lightly activate, you will get a pinker color. I just did the full saturated color here, and eventually I plan to redo this and do the different saturation so I can see the different, you know, like super dark, medium, and light. But when I swatched these, I was brand new to Inktense, and it did take me a while. I was very frustrated when I first got Inktense. I'm not gonna lie, I hated them at first, and then I practiced and played around with them, and once I got the hang of it, they became my favorite pencil. And so hopefully they become your guys's. I love them. I have the 72 count, so we have all these colors to play with, but we want to do some fall ones. So let's start with, we need some leaf colors, we need some apple colors, but we'll just pick one medium and see how long that takes us first and go from there. Let's do the apples first. Why not, right? It's like the focal point. So for our apples, I think I would like to do, we'll want some hot red. No, we want something a little darker. I think we'll do this chili red. That's a pretty red. Let's get that one out. Just gotta find it. Like I said, I didn't pre-pick these out, so I'm doing it with you. Okay, so chili red, which is 500 or 0500 if you want to get super technical. All right, so our chili red, and then we want kind of an orangey. So let's grab our mid vermilion also. Where are you? So mid vermilion 0310. And I'm debating if I want to add either a green tint or a yellow. I want to keep it simple so those of you who are new to this aren't like, whoa, what are you doing? I think this golden yellow, we'll pull it out. I might not use it, but let's pull it out just in case. So golden yellow 0230. Okay. Let's just try this. We're going to totally test this on camera, and I guess worst case scenario, I print it out and start over, right? I haven't used my Inktense in a while, so it's going to be a fun adventure. Oh, before I forget, when working with Inktense, you will need a paper towel or cloth. I prefer paper towels, just less laundry to do. Not as environmentally friendly though, but I mean, you can use the same cloths forever. Like I've got colors all over these things. There's a hot mess. And then you'll need water brushes. There are loads of water brushes to choose from. I know a lot of people use the Zig. I just could never get my hands on those, so I picked this set called Captron. It's like this cheap set. Yes, I lost a lid. Sigh. It doesn't really matter though. But it came with a bunch of different sizes. Like we've got two very big ones and then a few like medium size. And then these two I use the most. And this is kind of my mid-size, and then this is my fine detailing one. But these are pretty cool. You just fill this little barrel with water, and then you'll use it, you'll press on it to wet the brush. Oops, I don't want to drip on my paper though. You'll push on it to wet the brush, and you can either test it on your hand to make sure it's actually wet. I like to do it over my paper towel though first, because sometimes they can get a little bit too juicy, and you don't want to go crazy with the water. A little goes a long way. But you'll definitely want two sizes, one for a little bit more coverage and one for the fine details, especially if you're outlining. And then this brand, these little lids just pop on the back here. And I don't know why I didn't figure that out earlier, but that's how I lost the lid to that one. So yeah, but these ones are awesome. I'll put a link in the description below. They're pretty cheap, honestly. I was gonna buy the Arteza ones, and there was some other brand, Derwent, I think. But I bought these because I wanted to try them out first, and I ended up liking them, and I have like zero reason to replace them. So they have a huge water reservoir too. Like it doesn't, you'd think, oh my gosh, this isn't gonna last very long. No, it really does. It's insane how much it does. But let's go with, let's see, we got our mid vermilion. I think I want to start with my chili red and see, because I want to kind of alter in my colors. And then we'll probably get a deeper color in here. So I don't know, I think I'm zoomed out or zoomed in enough. I'm trying to avoid going super close just because I feel like you can't see the whole picture, and then there's always that risk of going off camera. So with your Inktense, you don't need a super sharp point. In fact, you could have a dull point for all that matters. That's what's great about these, and these last forever because it doesn't take much. So let's start this one back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly put down some Inktense, and we're doing our chili red, so that's our darkest red. Just kind of lightly adding, just right now because I want to see how it ends up turning out. I can always add more later, but I cannot take it away because it's as if I was putting an alcohol marker down almost. Technically you can erase these, and kudos if you go through the hassle of doing so, but I just prefer to test the waters and go from there. Okay, so I'm going to use my more medium one. Get it wet, make sure we're not super soggy. Then you just activate it. Now here's the thing, you cannot let it dry. So you do need to kind of move quickly, but not like, don't rush yourself and get all stressed out here. There, see? So just activate it and move it. It looks super ugly at first, I know. Don't worry, it will be okay, I promise. Alright, I'm gonna turn this slightly, but we're still on camera, so we're fine. I'm gonna get some of these ones down here and play with this color. See if I like it. Yeah, you can use a very light layer with these. Excuse my scratchy throat. It's fall, but it's like gonna be 90 today and the pollen is out. I don't know what's up with fall. I want like sweater weather and drinking tea, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Alright, let's see how this one works. So again, just activating it. And there's a few ways to do this. Everyone has their own technique. This is my technique. I've seen, you know, people start from the lighter side and move over to the dark, which is good if you're combining two colors at the same time, but I like to start with one and work my way through. So I just start at the bottom and I carry my color out. You can do it by coming in and then spreading it back up. And then, like I said, if I had two colors I was blending, I would start with a lighter one, but we're just doing one. Okay, so I do like the way that's turning out, and hopefully it shows on camera. But let's fill in the rest, and then we can add our other colors. And here's the big thing with Inktense. So once they dry, they're set, but you need to wait until it dries before adding another layer with another color. If it's still wet and you're impatient and you want to add a color, don't use your pencil. Instead, you will hold your pencil and just take some color with your brush off the lead itself. But I prefer to just kind of wait. So let's fill in a few apples now. What I recommend is watching a few people do some Inktense work, watch all the different styles, and then pick the style that matches your natural coloring style. There's a few people that do a ton of Inktense work. I think it's Sani Colors, Sani Arts. I'll find her YouTube. She does some really pretty stuff, and most of her work is Inktense. And then Peta Hewitt, or Peta Hewitt, does a lot of Inktense also. She's a great place to go. Julie's Passion for Color is actually where I finally found an Inktense style that worked for me, because my style of coloring is a lot like hers. I like it simple, and yet it still looks good. But I kind of, that's with like Prismacolors, I like to just color and then use my colorless blender to bring it across. So I watched a lot of her Inktense tutorials, and that's what really made me figure out how to use these. So that's why I say go check out a few people and find one that matches your coloring style. And of course you can watch mine too. I put a twist on it because my style is slightly different than Julie's, but we do have a similar coloring style. And that was what was awesome, because then I was able to learn using my preferred method. So just browse out there, see what you can find. That's my suggestion. I'm just putting kind of a light layer. Let's see. And these are already dry. All right, let's activate these ones. Now, one thing you want to do is work where your hand is going to be placed. So since I'm right-handed, I obviously can't start over here, or I'm going to be working over wet ink. So I start over here. So just keep in mind your hand placement. See, isn't that a beautiful color? And then if you feel like you have too much color on your brush, just wipe it off and then go back to pulling out more color. Sometimes you'll pick up too much color and it'll keep going. So you can always wipe it off and then get that muted color. You don't want your water brush too wet, but at the same time you don't want it too dry, and it just is a matter of practicing. If you've used these for watercolors, you'll probably be a lot more comfortable with it. But if you're new to it, just play around, kind of see what works for you. But if your brush is too dry, mine's starting to get dry, you'll get these lines right here, which is no biggie because I can come back over them later. But yeah, you'll start to get lines, or the color won't activate and move as much as you want it to. So that's just something to keep in mind. But again, like, it's a trial and error type of thing with Inktense. Just keep playing around with them, find your style, try to stay in the lines because they're not fun to erase. I honestly would rather use a white Posca to cover up my mistakes than try and erase these things, so just keep that in mind. But once you get the hang of these, you can color a whole picture super duper quick and still get like pretty gradients and shading and all sorts of stuff. So that's what makes it really fun. But you always want to kind of wiggle your brush around to avoid creating any harsh lines. My brush is getting too dry again. And with these, I'm going to actually add in an orange, so I'm not super concerned. Okay. All right. Wipe that off. Once those are dry, we'll go back in. So just go back and color some more. Hopefully everyone's week is starting off well. I woke up Monday with the intentions of the ultimate go-getter. I was going to start this color along yesterday and post it, and then I was sitting down to do my work first, and here we are at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was mid-typing and my computer just shut off, and I heard a loud bang, so I knew a transformer blew, and our power company was like, oh yeah, it'll be back by 1:30. 1:30 rolls around, oh yeah, it'll be back by 3:30. Nope. Kept going and going, and they kept pushing it out. And then I finally got the message it wouldn't be on until 9 o'clock at night. I was just like, well, there goes the whole day. But it luckily turned on by 7, and then by then I was just rushing to get work stuff done. And then my poor kids, since they learn at home, had to do 2 days of schoolwork. So they're enjoying life today. But it kind of zapped my motivation for the week. I do want to do this color along though, because I love Inktense and I love fall, so I was excited for this. Just my motivation with all the other things. Like I had a bunch of house projects, cleaning, all sorts of plans in place, and yeah. Now I'm just like, you know what? That'll just go on next week's list. I'm done. Let's see. And you can place your shadows wherever if you're coloring along with me here. Like I said, this book from Coloring Book Cafe has tons of cute images, and you can look at my flip through videos. But the paper is awful. It's like worse than my printer paper. It's like a grade below that. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's very toothy. And yes, you can color on it with some pencils, but like water-based would just crinkle it to death. And I would get a lot of bleed through, and I just wanted a nice thick paper that wouldn't crumple under the water. So that's why I didn't use it, but they have adorable images, and the book is like super cheap. It's just with that cheap price comes cheap paper. So I just say, if there's a cheap book out there that you really like, just go ahead and buy it and scan it. I use the Adobe Scan, I think it's called, and literally I just scan the image. It automatically detects everything. Then I print from my phone. I just put the paper in my printer and it's done. Super simple. I do that with a lot, like my Hannah Lynn books, if I want to use alcohol markers, because her paper's really thin too. I'll print them out. Then you can like use their cute images and have some fun. I loved this fall one. It has so many adorable pictures, but yikes, that paper. Got a little shadow in there. I might even come back with a brown and add more shadow later where everything's overlapping. First I was going to color these like Honey Crisps, but I was just like, well, I want to keep this kind of beginner friendly, and that's a lot of different layers. My neighbors have Honeycrisp trees and they keep sharing all their photos. I'm so jealous. I keep buying them at the store. Gosh, it's like $2 an apple or something like that. It's worth it though. They're the best apple ever. To me, at least. Okay. And here's the thing with Coloring Book Cafe. All their pictures just kind of get cut off. So I'm just going to naturally let it fade away because I don't feel like finishing the artwork for them. You can take like a micron if you want and draw it in. I'm just not that person. See, I'm keeping these layers fairly light, a little darker in some corners, but I mean, look how much of my pencil I still have. These last forever, which is good because they're not exactly the cheapest pencil out there, but totally worth every penny. This is now one of my favorite pencils. I've done so many Johanna Basford pages with these now, and they are just so great to work with. I love them. Like, you can get a gradient effect, shadowing, everything in like half the time. It's awesome. All right, let's start with this one. Good news is by the time we get to the end of these apples, then we can just go back to the beginning and add our other color. Let's get this little guy that's hiding in here. Another reason I kind of wanted to zoom out was I like to turn my coloring pages. I've tried doing color alongs where it's just the page stays stationary, but I can't color that way. It's not in me. I need to be able to turn my page and work with it, which benefits you guys because then you can actually see what I'm doing and I'm not like, my arm isn't all kinked. Oops, got a little bit out of the lines there. A little sloppy. I find these pencils very relaxing to work with. And once you get the hang of them, you will too. Like I said, when I first got them, I had watched some tutorials, but I wasn't really like following along or playing along with them. So when I got them, I was like, oh, I can handle this. These look easy. You just color and activate with water. And then I got super frustrated because it wasn't that simple. But like I said, I just started watching a bunch of different tutorials and different methods, and then just playing around with them, like swatching different colors, trying to color different things. And then once I got the hang of it, I was like, oh, these things are amazing. So if you find yourself struggling with these, just watch a few videos, and then I think you'll love them. I mean, they're not for everyone though, I'll admit. It's kind of like watercolors. Not everyone enjoys watercolor pencils. I think Inktense are very appropriate for fall because they just kind of give you that soft, cozy, washed out country color. I don't know. It's hard to explain. And don't worry if you go over your stems. The color we are going to use there will definitely show up, so you're fine. Don't worry about that. Okay, let's get this one. I know we're already 30 minutes in and we've colored some apples. We haven't even finished coloring the apples. What I may do, I'll leave it up to you guys in the comments, finish like just this barrel of apples and then do the rest off camera, or if you want me to do it all. I never know how long of a color along people want to watch. So you guys tell me if you want me to do all of the apples on camera. I'm more than happy to. I find it very zen to just sit here and paint with these. It seriously won't bother me. It's up to you guys. I just sit here feeling so relaxed, which is why I'll have like a break in talking, because I just get all So for this one, that's kind of just hanging off the edge. I'm just going to take the color and just kind of let it fade off to the edge, just kind of like with the artwork. Okay. All right, we have red apples. So next, I think we will, debating if we'll use our yellow or our mid vermilion. You know, I think the yellow might actually look better. Oh gosh, but now even the green. I'll see what we've done. Now I'm sitting here like, let's try, we'll try one, excuse me, I'm going to put my mid vermilion back. Let's try one with the golden yellow and see if we like the color. We'll try this little one down here. That way if it's messed up, we can cover it with some shading. So it's dry, it's safe to apply my pencil. That's the most important thing here, is just always, when you're going for your second layer, 1, clean off your brush, make sure there's no red. And then 2, make sure it's dry. Just slowly activate that. And then what we're going to do is bring it down a little bit into the red, and then bring it up here into where it's lighter. Just kind of mix those around. Yeah, I think that might work. Hopefully that shows up well on camera. And the good news is, if it turns out you're like, oh gosh, that's too orangey or too yellow, we can always go back. Like, see, I could take a little bit off of my chili red here. Be very cautious when you do that though. And I can add some more red to deepen it. See, I'm deepening that up. That way the yellow is not like in your face. There we go. And then I can add a tiny bit down here just to make it darker where the shadow is. And like I said, I think I'll take a brown and we'll kind of add more shadows later. I know on camera it looks kind of orangey, and that's just the brightness of my lens. But I promise it is red. Yeah, we'll let it dry and we'll see how it goes. So, taking your golden yellow, we're going to basically where we have a little bit of a white space, but we're going to start down here and kind of bring it up. So, like on this one, for example, kind of where the red starts to transition into a lighter red, I'm just going to add a light layer in there. Same thing here. Sorry, I'm so coughed today. Adding a light layer, because you can always add more, but you cannot take it away. So we'll hit those. And you kind of wet them and draw them into your red, but you also carry them up into that white space. And this one's definitely going to need some more red applied to it. This one too, because it should be nice and dark right down there. And then I'm not wet down there, so I'm going to, since it's dry down here where I need the extra, I'm just going to add it. Always test your paper though before you go drawing on it. And normally for making a gradient, you would want to wet the yellow first. But in this case, I want this red to cover up some of this yellow. I don't want the yellow to be shining through. Clean off my brush so I don't forget. Alright, so let's add some more yellow to these ones here. So again, see kind of where the transition is. I just want to start adding that in there. And I'm not even taking it to the top. And then with this one, and don't be like worried you have to do this super precise or anything. Like the whole point of this is just kind of add your color. Because like I said, you can always go back and cover it with red if you realize, oops, I added too much. You can even, if you end up covering up this yellow too much with the red, just go back and add some more yellow. Like, these are pretty forgiving as long as you keep it light. Once you get too dark, then there's no turning back. Get my brush wet again because I can tell it's getting kind of dry. Alright. So let's start with this one up here. Okay. Let's get this one down here. See how that one's kind of really yellowy? We'll come back with our red and kind of deafen that color a little. But that's what's great. See how I'm layering these, but it's not reactivating my red at all. The only time it'll pull in your red color is if you ended up not having, or you didn't activate a spot on your page. So like there was some unactivated pencil. That's the only time you'll suddenly see your colors muddled together. And I've seen some people, if you're like afraid to just put it straight on the paper, some people will use like a little color palette and they'll color down and then activate it and then pick it up almost as if it was a normal watercolor paint. You can do that too. I just prefer to draw it where I want it to go. I'll just keep playing with those. Definitely want this one to tone itself down a little. I think I haven't activated that one because it seems see if I activated that yellow. Can't even remember now, but it looks like it hasn't been. Yeah, I didn't. That's a pretty color. Okay, so we'll keep adding our yellow and then we'll come back and add in the extra red where we need it, because we do want to deepen the color. Like I said, I'll do these apples here, and then you guys in the comments let me know as soon as possible because I'll have to finish it before then I record again tomorrow or even later tonight. But if you want me to keep doing all the apples on camera, or if you guys got the hang of it. And then I'll ask on social media too, so. Alright, so like see this one over here? This one really needs some more red. It's wet underneath, so we're gonna pull the red. Those colors mingling. And I promise this is a lot redder than it looks on camera. It's just my brightness settings are making these look like little peaches or something. But I swear they're red apples. And with Inktense, you always want to kind of wait anyway for the color to dry and see how it finalizes. Obviously when it's wet, it's a lot darker. That's just kind of the same with even like your watercolors. Yeah, how are we in? Yeah, we're at like 40 something minutes. So I'm gonna do these apples here. And then definitely let me know if you want me to keep doing all the apples on camera. I'll kind of pull from Facebook and my Instagram and all that. Because I am totally fine showing start to finish. I actually prefer that just because I'll be using different shading methods up top. But at the same time, I don't know if anyone wants to sit there and watch me color a bajillion apples, because these are a lot of apples. Let's see, I'm just continually pulling some red off the pencil here, putting it on my brush, and gently nudging it over the yellow. And don't worry if your paper starts to bubble up. You can actually iron your paper when you're done. I know it sounds scary, taking an iron, but I promise it'll be alright. I do it all the time. Just obviously take the steam setting off your iron. Blend it in more. I think those are looking cute. I wonder if I hold it up closer, if it really shows the red or not. It's hard to say. Either way, I promise they will be super red, and we can even add a little bit of our Shiraz if we must, but in person they're really red. On camera, not. But my choice was either a dark filming session, because my sessions have been kind of dark despite my overhead light. So I swapped my camera settings to just brighten while recording. And unfortunately, it literally brightens everything. But my overhead light is kind of killing me right now with the glare. So I'll just keep playing with this and adding more red until I get the color I want, because I don't want these to look like peaches, obviously. And just remember, pulling it off the pencil, you are going to get a very deep color. So if you have to, wipe it off. And once you notice your paper's just too wet, let it dry, give it a minute to breathe, let the colors kind of do their thing, and then go back and add more, because if you add too much, you're going to break down your paper, and then there's no turning back from there. You've ruined it. So like, you want to be very careful about just continually wetting it down, which is why I'm pulling from the pencil and not fully saturating it. Let me get this one. All right, so with us already at almost an hour, I will definitely end the video here. I am going to keep working on my other apples in this basket, just using the same technique, a little bit of golden, adding more red, And then just let me know if you guys do want me to do all of the apples on camera. I'm more than happy to do it. And then when we come back for the next one, because this will take quite a while, when we come back for the next one, I'll either be doing the apples if that's what you guys want me to finish, or we'll start adding the little stems inside the barrel, and we'll get started on like kind of the woodwork and stuff. So that all depends on what everyone votes, I guess. But yeah, and the good thing is with Inktense, so you could totally leave it just like this. Oops, lost my lid. You could leave it like this and they still look cute little apples, right? Or you can add layers and add some dimension. It's totally up to you how far you want to take your Inktense, because that's what's cool. You can sit here and layer for days and you don't have to sharpen your pencils at all. And it is much faster than if I were coloring these by hand, especially once I start adding browns and whatnot in there. But I think I'll call this one to an end, and then what we'll do is we will pick up these same colors if we decide to. Chili red, golden yellow. So let me know, do you want me to do all the apples? Ooh, that one's still wet. Do you want me to do all the apples in the picture? Because we do have them all up here in another barrel. I will finish these ones and work on these ones, and then we'll just keep going. This will be multiple parts, but I'm just going to keep posting them one after the other, so you're not waiting like a week for me to do it. And we'll get this finished this week and then dive into another request. So I guess I will see you guys all tomorrow for some more fall fun coloring. Bye.